Checky. What's going on out there this fine Tuesday evening in MECA land? How's all the MECA heads doing this evening? I hope everybody's having a good start to their week. I know I'm doing all right this week so far, I guess. A couple little bumps in the road, but, we're out here getting it. So hope everybody's having a good week so far. Let's see. Burnt. Make sure my chat's working here. Somebody chat me so I can make sure my chat's working. But I'm going to have Mr. Tony Economou on here with me this evening. Here in a few minutes, dueling demo street class world champion from last year. So Mr. Tony's going to come on here and talk about stereo stuff, dueling demos, some other stuff too. He's been around the car audio competition scene for quite some time, almost ever since I think I can remember, once I started kind of expanding my horizon. So known Tony for a long time, or known of him at least for a long time. I've gotten to know him a little bit better over the last 3, 4, 5 years here, but really good guy, a lot of knowledge and sound pressure, and started playing dueling demos here last year. So should be a pretty good one if you guys got questions. What's going on, Mike Jones, Miss Whitney Alt, Mr. Haslage, Mr. Terry Adams? I hope you guys are having a good week so far this week. Just a couple things I wanted to go over real quick before we get Mr. Tony in here. What's going on, Mr. Reddy? How you doing, man? Let's see. First and foremost, I guess we'll do website, because I'm good at doing that at the beginning of the live. What's going on, Mr. Cassidy? Some of you that know the website's still, kind of down a little bit. Some of the stuff showing points and events and things like that, we're still working on resolves to try to get everybody's points together. Membership showing up correctly and things like that. So if you have an issue with any of that stuff, please go to the website, www.mecacaraudio.com. Scroll down to the bottom there. There should be a place for you to put in a member support ticket. Go ahead and put a support ticket in on the site. Like I said, we're aware of a lot of it, but just in case, it never hurts to give us a note so that we can go back and make sure we don't let something slip through the cracks. On that part, if you'll just go on there and submit a ticket for us, that'd be great. That way I can, like I said, have a place where I can try to keep that in order. I know I've been getting a few messages here lately. And like I said, there's a few issues with things showing up to the front. But for the most part, it looks like most of the points and things are showing up in the member profiles. So it is keeping track of them. There's just something that's, got it broken from going from here to there type thing. So, like I said, bear with us for a few more weeks on that. I think we're getting kind of close. So, what's going on, Mr. Tony? I think that's what I have for the website. One more thing here real quick. We do have sound quality world finals scheduled with Iasca and Emma and Mass Q there in Birmingham, Alabama. So all my sound quality folks, we will be back in Birmingham this year. Unfortunately, they were unable to get the venue to work out again. So we will be doing sound pressure somewhere a little bit different. We're going to be doing sound pressure also in November. I'm not really quite ready to release everything yet, but I know that it's going to be November, and I know that it's going to be the 14th through the 16th. I'm still ironing out a couple more things. I've already made my mistake once on that, so I want to make sure we get things right. And I know we're a little bit behind, but we were really hoping to get everything together this year. It just didn't pan out for us. So, um, with that said, sound quality finals will be there in Alabama, uh, with in Birmingham, with all the other SQ orgs, and then again we'll be doing sound pressure finals November 14th through the 16th, and I think it's going to be a pretty good central spot for most of our folks. At least Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan area. You guys should be kind of excited. I'm hoping we get it going to where I can make an announcement here soon. What's going on, Mr. Hawley, Mr. J.C. Crane, Mr. Joseph Alt, and Mr. Jimmy McGraw? How you doing? Like us up, share us up. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook, make sure you like the page. What's going on, Mr. Whitworth, sorry. I was just letting everybody know again, sound quality finals will be there in Birmingham. A little bit of information on sound pressure. I should be making some posts here in the next week or two, and you'll have all that information. While we're talking a little bit about the sound quality stuff, I also want to bring up we got SVR coming. We will be a part of that event again. I don't know if I have a way to open my pre-registration on the website just yet with all the issues we've been having. So probably tomorrow or the next day, I'll make a post, with like the Cash App, PayPal handles. And if you want to pre-register for that event, we'll go ahead and start trying to get that together. So sound quality guys, keep your eyes peeled for that, for SVR, and how to get yourself pre-registered for the MECA part of that. All right. So like I said, I'm going to get Mr. Tony on here in a minute. Let's see. I guess we'll talk about one more thing. So we've got 2 events coming this weekend, I believe. I hope I'm not missing one. But 2 events coming this weekend. One of them is going to be a 4X there at Ballard Field in Marion, Indiana. So Shannon and I will be on our way up there to get our 4X on with you guys. 4X show. Again, we just added it into the rule book this year. You can set your world records at a 4X event. Sound pressure records had to be backed up, and the lowest score is taken. We'll start the world records with the scores that were done at World Finals last year, and then we'll just build off of that. So you got to beat the score that the person posted on Sunday and do it twice. And then, like I said, the lowest score will count. If you do want to do a world record run, make sure you notify the judge in the lane. That way we know, you got to do a second pass. And also, if you do accomplish setting the world record, it'll kind of be, the same thing you have to go through at finals. So, we'll take you off to the side and look at everything and make sure everything's on the up and up the way we want it to be. So don't forget, you can set world records now at the 4X events. And then Easter Sunday, Mr. Dominic Bussey's going to have a show there in Trenton, South Carolina. So that'll be a 2X on Easter Sunday. So 2 pretty good events coming at you guys this weekend. And we'll go back to the 4X for a second. Obviously, I'm wearing the awards we're going to be handing out at the 4X. So, I'm King Turd on Poop Mountain. But anyway, so This is your regular first place award there. So I got one with a sticker on it here. First place, boom. Be the king for a day. That'll be the first place awards. And then I believe this is sound pressure best of show. You got a little bit thicker of a band. You got the stones on there. You're blinged out. And then I believe this one is sound quality best of show. So sound quality, sound pressure, and then this one right here is the Bobo. So you got the extra fur, and of course, again, the shine. You got to get your shine on. So that's going to be our first place awards and stuff coming at you guys this weekend at the Indiana 4X. We changed it up a little bit on the color. I still got a few white and gold ones we'll have with us, but got quite a few silver ones now. So what's going on, Mr. Haslage? Yep, got the band with the fur. So Easter show's coming up. Don't forget, Chad does the Easter egg hunt for the kids. He also gives all the kids like a raffle item, and has basically a trunk full of stuff and lets the kids get something. So should be a really great show. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time, and we're looking forward to getting up there and hanging out with everybody this weekend at Ballard Field in Marion, Indiana. So with all that said, I guess I'll finally get Mr. Tony on here. I went a little bit longer than I normally do, but I think I've got everything out of the way that I wanted to talk about. Again, if you missed it, Sound Quality Finals will be there in Birmingham, Alabama, with the Iasica Emma Masque. And then Sound Pressure Finals is going to be November 14th through the 16th. And like I said, I'm not really 100%, I guess, ready to announce the location just yet, but I need to get one more thing done, and then I can let everybody in on what we're doing there. But we've got our dates picked, and so November 14th through the 16th. What's going on, Chris, Mr. Pablo, Mr. Ernest Dunstan? 2-day show in Indiana, not this time. Since it was Easter on Sunday, we elected not to do that one. So it's just going to be a 1-day 4X there at Ballard Field in Indiana. All right. I'm going to get Mr. Tony on here and we'll get this going. So I'm a chicken with my head cut off these days. Been running around trying to keep it together. I don't know if it's working very good, but I'm going to keep on grinding my nose on this grindstone here. So without any further wait, here's Mr. Tony Economou. Boom.
All right.
You're live, Tony. What's going on, man?
All right. Another nice sunny day in Florida.
Another nice sunny day. Is already pretty hot down there.
Yeah, we're preheating. Yeah, we're not totally there yet. We're preheating still.
You still in the 80s?
Still high 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High 80s. Yeah, so you're
exactly.
you're preparing. Haslage is over here making us a whole song. So I think Tony is a vampire.
Well, I could plug the light in. I don't know.
I think it's all right now. It was a little bit better earlier when the sun was out, but I see it started to go down on us.
Yeah.
So let's see. I usually started out with, a couple little questions I got, and then hopefully the folks in the chat will start asking us some stuff, and we'll kind of build up
Yeah.
off of that. Despite all his rage, he's still just a rat in a Florida room cage. Oh, sorry, because Tony was a vampire. So usually, I guess I kind of kick it off with, how'd you get into car audio? When did it all start
Oh,
for
it
you?
started for me in 1997. I was in high school and obviously, heard someone with a stereo in their vehicle, and they stopped me dead in my tracks. And from there, I discovered the competition side of it. Started reading the magazines and everything else, and then Spring Break Nationals of '98. I met Alma Gates, and that was kind of cool because she
Okay.
was a celebrity at that point, really. And then in 2000, I went to my first show in June of 2000. It was a DB Drag event in Orlando.
A DB drag show in
Yep.
Orlando, huh? So I guess you kind of answered several in a row there. So you've been involved since '97
Yeah.
is when you really feel like you heard about it and stuff. Well, you said you met Alma. Was that your inspiration to compete, or did you have somebody that kind of motivated you to want to do it?
It
Or
was mostly reading the magazines. Between Alma and Shaker, that was another one. The guys from Team Pure Sound, the extreme Volkswagen bus. I followed all that stuff, and then I met a good from now who now is a good friend of mine. Then so for 25 years, met him on one of the AOL chat or something like that, one of the chat rooms. And my
right,
buddy Chris, and it's when I went to my first event. Obviously read up the rules and stuff like that, and yeah, I went. It was Street 3 to 4, and back then you're only allowed 1,200 watts of rated power or something like that. And I had 4 sealed Kicker 12s in my Ranger on a Rockford 4 channel.
okay. So how you've been doing it for a long time, obviously. So how many different organizations have you dabbled in over the years?
Well, there obviously DB Drag, Slap when it was around. I don't know if anybody remembers Slap. I asked,
I know of it.
yeah, they didn't last very long, and it was really weird. The judge would sit on the passenger seat of the vehicle, and the mic could go anywhere, so they would just turn around and stick it in a port. It was really weird. Um, yeah,
Huh.
and of course Iasca, MECA, USAC I have, and that's about it. Other than we I used to go to a lot of car shows, and back then they would have little
Right.
STL events that were unsanctioned, and we used to do those and stuff too. But yeah, I've done I've
Right.
done several orgs.
So the rule books were real heavy back then,
Yeah.
though,
Oh yeah.
right? Because they were carved in
Yeah.
stone.
Yeah, I see Josh's comment.
Yeah. Oh man. Um, let's see. So now that we know, I guess you've competed in all those
Mhm.
organizations. How many different world championships do you have? And do you
Um,
know?
Yeah, I have one for base race, and that gosh, I remember doing base race when I first started. And then
Okay.
two base boxing world championships, three IDBL championships, and three MECA now world championships. So
Okay.
yeah, that's about it. But like I've designed enclosures and helped tune several different world champions to teammates of mine, because we all collectively work together. So
Right.
yeah, so been in the I guess in the mix for a long time.
So I guess it sounds like you've won championships from at least three different
Mhm.
organizations.
Yep.
Okay. So that's pretty good. We got any questions in here I'm missing? I mean, I see a bunch of your boys in here poking us.
Oh gosh, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen.
He said, "Don't forget about ISPLL."
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot. Yeah, ISPL and now ACCL.
Right.
Forgot about those.
So, you go quick, Tony. I guess I'll ask another one. Since you've been doing it for so long and kind of dabbled in so much different stuff there, how many different builds have you had throughout the years?
I've probably had as many builds as I've had vehicles. I've had quite a few vehicles over the years. My buddies like to tease me about it. I'd have to say 8 or 9 different builds. Yeah. And for the longest time, I worked with what I had, especially years ago. My daily driver
Right.
that was my SPL vehicle, and I was kind of limited what I could do because again, it was a daily driver. Generally, they were newer vehicles. And then when I got the opportunity to get my CRX, which was a teammate's car from like 12 years prior, we won 3 base boxing championships with it.
Okay.
Well, I was able to get it, and then like now I have an actual just dedicated SPL car plus my daily that I use for dueling demos and sound quality, so it's kind of cool. I have the best of both worlds now.
Right. So Joe asked us, "Are you going to be bringing the CRX out of the cave anytime this year?"
It'll come out. I'm gonna change amplifiers. But it'll come out because I found that it's really strong in park and pound. So I kind of want to do some cool stuff with park and pound. I kind of like to go down the list of the different classes. I mean, ending with 4 and 5 because that's going to be the hardest with a no wall, but the car's really strong doing that.
Yeah, I think I've seen them do some pretty good park and pound stuff back when there was a lot more of them around, and you know, I might know somebody to show you a thing or two about the headrest with it too.
See, yeah, I definitely need some help with the headrest. I'm so used to the glass and the kick. Like,
Back
yeah, it
the,
definitely needs some headrest help.
the orientation's a little bit different, but I don't think it will take much to help you out there. But yeah, let's see. What's your favorite mecha format to compete in?
Well, and maybe it's because it's fresh. And I've like over the past year or 2 years now, I've really dove into it as dueling demos. Like I really like it, but I think it's because I'm not numb to it anymore. SPL competition because you do it for so long and you kind of get numb to it. So when you do a different format, it's fresh and new, like you just started again. So I've been really
Right.
liking doing the dueling demo stuff.
Awesome. Let's see. That's a good question. I guess it's going to make you think. How many different subwoofers have you had over the years?
Josh knows this. I've quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, quite a lot. Rebuilt them, just trying different parts, stuff like that. But I've probably had, give or take, 10 to 15, maybe more different pairs of subs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yes, Mike
Yeah,
does need headrest help.
yeah, we all do sometimes.
Yeah.
What else do I got here for you? Uh, Tony, turn on a light. Have you won any specialty awards in MECA?
No, I don't believe I've won any specialty, but the only thing I guess that would be considered specialty that's not like a first, second, or third was I won Fat 15 one time at Spring Break Nationals in a truck I had with a single sub in it. That was pretty cool. But
Okay.
other than that, no.
Do you have a favorite award from an event?
It would either be my first Mecha ring or but the trophy that's near and dear to my heart that I still have 25 years later is
Right.
from that DB drag event in 2000. I still have that trophy.
It was your first one, basically. Is
Yep,
that right? I,
exactly.
I mean, that makes sense to me. It's got sentimental value.
Yeah, but definitely my first ring for sure as far as like world championship.
This is a question none of us sound pressure guys want to answer. How many recones have you went through over the years?
Not as many as Mike. I see who asked that question. But I've probably gone through six, but honestly, most of them I was tearing apart perfectly working subs because I was trying different different combination of parts in them.
Okay, it's not enough. Oh, sorry.
Well, no, yeah, I definitely need to try more. So
Let's see here. I'm gonna switch this event down at the bottom that's scrolling. If you guys got questions, ask them. Let's see. So, dueling demos. You said that was your favorite mecha format right now. So, I
yeah.
mean, I know it's fresh and it's new, but and maybe you had a little push or a shove here or there to try it out. But like, what drew you to that format, and what do you like about it, and why do you want to keep doing it, and what's your plans moving forward? How about that? I give you a bunch.
Yeah. Okay. So I never really paid attention to it up until was it 2 years ago when we were in Tennessee. The last time we had a joint finals. And I started paying attention, and then I wanted to get into it. But honestly, what really opened my eyes, 2023, that was my education year. Between dueling demos and then obviously, because I mean, you've been down there, the Virgin Islands set stuff and how
Right,
they do those battles and the elimination format stuff like that. I went to Music Wars that year, and just sat there all day and just watched,
right,
and I learned, and that's pretty much what got me going with that. And I always say that go so those guys I've noticed they take that stuff just as seriously as some of us take SPL,
right.
and that was that was great education to learn from, and I think that's what helped me out with doing demos.
Okay. So I guess you plan on trying to defend your title this year. You going to
Oh
move
yes.
classes
Oh
or
yes. My plan obviously I scored really well this past finals. I was super super happy about that because I think I mean I broke into the mod street number, score wise. I want to take it even further. Like I want to have like a mid 80 score in street.
okay?
Yeah.
That's a good goal. So I mean that kind of answered one of them. But Tony said, "What are some of your future competition goals? Do you have
Um
any other than dueling demos?"
what well, to get the CRX back out, and also I've kind of started the venture with sound quality, but I'm kind of running into a what do I do because I want to make the car better for dueling demos, but it's
Right.
kind of hard to do that and still have it for sound
Get
quality.
the in car thing going
Yeah,
correctly.
exactly. Because I'm still using dome tweeters for
Right.
friggin' dueling demos. So like I want to change some stuff. So it'll be kind of hard to do sound quality with bullet tweeters essentially.
Right. Oh, they said your goal is not to lose.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've taken one loss in the past year and a half, so I'd say that's pretty good.
All right. If you guys got any other questions,
That
make
would
sure
be
you ask them. I'll keep on coming up with stuff. Um,
Yeah, any questions I'll ask.
any questions you'll ask, huh?
Just about. Just about.
I
I'm
hear
gonna turn
that.
on this damn light so people stop ooh, that's bright.
Yeah, it is. There you
That's
go.
better.
That's
All
good.
right.
That's more gooder.
It's more gooder.
Yeah. I should change mine, but
I stole I stole this one from the shop. So
Mike Jones said, any questions? All right.
other than that,
So how long have you had the CRX going?
I got it in late 2019. I took it to what was it? The joint finals in 21 in Alabama. That's where I won my first MECA championship there. And then used it the next year, and then I made a dumb decision and decided that I'd want to go back to one vehicle for everything because having two is kind of a pain in the ass. especially
Right.
when one of them, like has over 300,000 miles on it. And I ended up selling it to Tony P actually. And then he was concentrating more on the Explorer, and I said, "Hey, dude, just sell me the car back." So it's now back with
Right.
me.
Yeah, we just had a 7X weekend in Tennessee there, Bobby. And there should, I think, I don't know if they're on the schedule yet or not, but yeah, there's going to be shows there in Tennessee. Probably at least a handful more coming at you. And I know Pops is working on trying to get a few more venues and things going, but yeah, there. I'm pretty sure there should be some on the schedule. Um, Unless they haven't been submitted yet. But yes, there will be some more Tennessee shows. But we only add them to the schedule as the judges submit them. But I can't remember because, like I said, I've been a chicken with my head cut off. But I'm looking real quick to see if they're on here, and it doesn't look like they're on here. But I do know that the plan is to have at least a handful more there. In Tennessee. So as soon as we get those ironed out, I'll get them posted up, and we'll, that way you guys can see where they're at. Um, right now, I've been trying to keep up and add all the events here to Facebook, but the short answer is yes. There's going to be shows in Tennessee, and we've already had couple there, so there will be some more coming. But like I said, it doesn't look like they're posted on the schedule yet. But I think Pops has at least 3 or 4 more scheduled. We just got to get them submitted and posted onto the website. Um, I did go over that a little bit, Josh, earlier. The SPL finals will be November 14th. Through the 16th, I'm pretty sure. So check in on the 14th, 15th, and 16th for the show. Um, I'm not really quite ready to like fully announce it yet because I'm still trying to make sure everything's in order. So got to get all my ducks in a row before I stick my foot in my mouth. But that's the information I'm willing to give out right this second. So, and I might give it all the way out in the next day or two. Um, I just got. I'm basically just waiting on a couple phone calls, and then I'll be able to. I'll be a lot more confident in announcing it. I mean, it's pretty much hammered out. I just waiting on a couple things to happen. So as soon as those happen, I will announce it. That's a good question. What is your top favorite sound pressure builds, past
Mm.
and present?
A lot of them are probably past just because obviously I was younger then, so the awe was there.
Right,
Almost Bronco. Um, the Rileys. Do you remember that it was a full size Econoline van. Bobby Riley and his brother, and they were on Team RF. That thing was stupid. I mean, because it was early 2000s, so
right.
I think it was doing 65s, I think, or something. Um, Tommy McKinney's truck, the Isuzu, Ho
Okay.
problems. Um, and then if we're talking present, man, it's tough because all of them are really good. Hmm. Well, I can tell you, firsthand, but I can tell you, watching an extreme vehicle do an 82 on music, that had to have been the coolest thing I've ever seen, like
Okay.
experienced in person.
Right.
Um, wow, that's close. I don't know. I think that
All
might
of
be it
that.
off the top of my head.
I felt all of that.
Yeah, you did.
My back thought it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. And I see Joe's comment. Yeah, yeah, it did hurt because from what I heard rumblings, of course, I was a kid. but that there was no sound deadener in that van. That's why it was so damn loud. I mean, even sealed standing outside of that thing, it was violent.
Oh, now Chaddy's putting you on the spot.
Oh boy. No. Okay. So Tony has kind of got into me about that. I was an IASCA judge for probably, oh my gosh, 5 years. I was a 3X world record judge, and I ended up quitting at finals because I saw grown men acting like children. And I was like, look, I got into this for the fun of it, not to watch people throw hissy fits. And I like legit threw my shirt in the trailer. And that's the day I stopped judging. So that's not gonna happen ever again. I like the competitor side of things a little bit better.
There you go. It gets difficult sometimes because you're really not going to probably get rid of the grown men acting like that. It just tends to happen sometimes.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately.
The Riley van hurt when you stood next to it. Yeah, we're gonna keep on working on him. I'm gonna keep twisting his arm until I pull it off.
And then I see what park and pound class. I think I'm gonna go when I get it back on the road. I think I'm gonna go to three. I think I'll go to park and pound three.
Park and pound 3. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know when we ran it in Louisville, that building. I don't know what was going on with that far right lane, but it seemed like the building itself was like eating up scores. I had heard from other people they were like a couple of dB down or something like that. And we still managed to do a 33 in Park and Pound 2 in the building, but I can tell you that the car has a 35 in it in Park and Pound 2.
Park and pound's not far different from sound pressure.
Mm.
So all the stuff around the meter and behind the meter changes the frequency you have to play, but don't tell nobody, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about my windshield bracing. No problem, Joe. I'll remember that.
Um, but no, uh, like a lot of times in Park and Pound, you'll see uh it'll be kind of funny because you'll hear, some guys will be like, oh, that's bull. I was down 2 dB or I was down a dB or, whatever it might be. And then you'll have another group of guys that are like, oh, I was up a dB. I was up a half a dB, and it's basically usually due to the frequency that they're playing based off of where the objects are, the solid objects are around
Yeah.
your, when there's walls and stuff like that. Like if you got a handy smart guy that's good at math, you can actually pull a tape measure and figure out which frequencies are going to lose and which frequencies are going to win. As far as like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
It's
yeah.
almost like the cabin of your car, kind of.
Yeah.
You can basically use the quarter wave theory, and like if there's a wall behind the meter, you can measure it and basically use quarter wave theory, and that'll be the frequencies, the general area where you want to play. But if your car won't do it, then I mean,
Yeah.
so or like if there's something above it, whatever. It all the stuff around the meter matters, so that makes park and pound interesting because it can change venue to venue. And then, wide open spaces is obviously usually the best or the truest, way to do it. But yeah, park and pound's always been one of those interesting things when you get them in a building or next to a wall or a gazebo or something like that. So it always makes it fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. All right. What is your favorite show?
Oh, my favorite show probably it doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. And that would have been Spring Break Nationals. I guess I went for so many years and like, all weekend out there and stuff like that. Like I really, really miss that show. I mean, other than that, there would be finals, of course. But yeah, I really miss Spring Break Nationals.
I thought that was a good one. That was always one of my favorite ones to go to.
Yeah, and the amount of people that were there, back in the early 2000s, I mean, it was insane. when you're in the lanes running and you like legit have hundreds of people standing around watching you, it makes for some good nerves, I guess.
Yeah, I can't remember the first year I went, but every year after I went the first year, I went every year. And then I started judging it for a while. But I remember the second year I went, I wasn't going to go. And I was like, well, we're not going to go. And I think I spent I spent all day working on my car. I was off, and I finally got it the way I wanted it. And I called Shannon uh, on her way home and was like, "You want to go to spring break?" And she was like, "How are we going to go to spring break?" I was like, "We're going to leave as soon as you get here." And I did. I drove all night Friday night, burnt the car Saturday morning, went and visited her parents, and then drove all the way back so we could be at work on Monday. And
Yeah.
that was the second time I went, and then I planned on going every time after that because I was like, you're gonna go, so
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it was an amazing show, and it's a shame what happened to it, but yeah, for years it was amazing.
what's going on, Mr. Eberhard? How you doing, Mr. Mike Mack? Oh, it was 2007, I guess. So that was my second time I went, and I'm so yeah, I went for quite a while. Yeah, it was a good show. I don't know if it was its own vibe. I mean, I don't know, back around the time when it was really. I mean, like I said, I don't think I made my way down there till '06, '07, whatever. But I, like when I got hooked on it was like early 2000, 2001, and the first shows I went to, like the Carl Casper show in 2001 until probably about, I don't know, 2005 ish. Like you couldn't even walk around in there. It was like shoulder to shoulder. If you wanted to walk around and look at the cars, you was going to spend a good 4 or 5 hours just to look at the sound cars, let alone,
Yeah.
you know, uh, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the vibe itself was not that it was different, but it was just a lot more folks involved, or a lot more people had their interest piqued by it. Maybe we'll get that interest peaked again at some point, but I think it'll be. I hear people all the time talk about like, oh, we need to get it back to this or that, and I mean, yeah, I think you could do it, you could get it better, we can do better, we can always do that, but I mean, late '90s and early 2000s, that stuff was like to the moon, baby.
Oh, huge, huge, and the interest in it was crazy. Yeah, so I don't know what's happened over the years, but it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool, loud stereo, yay, to average folks, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not.
I've been seeing more and more of them, and I've actually been having, some younger people. They see my stickers and stuff, and they'll come they'll come talk to me about it. And I haven't had that in some time, so I think that's a good little sign. I've been hearing more of them riding around town, kind of like I used to when I was in school. And then, like I said, as I'm driving around with my MECA stickers, I've had some young people come up and talk to me. So, you know, in in the last 6 months or so, I feel like maybe it could be a little turning point there. But I don't know if people are just not as competitive as they used to be, or whatever. But I know it's fun, and that's why I do it. And I mean, yeah, there is a lot of different orgs out there now that kind of splits everybody up and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
back then, I think basically there was only about at least only four that I really knew of. I mean, I know there was a few others here and there, but like the ones that I knew of that you could find readily available information about and stuff, it was only about four. And the media and how we share stuff and things like that's changed too. So you can find out about almost any of them now. You know, We need an
Yeah,
art
absolutely.
dueling demos class. Yeah, if it's more than one, but I mean I'll let it do open class, but I don't know. We'll figure something out for it. We've been talking about it, but we gotta get more than one RC car to come, Mike Mac. Um, let's see. All right. Well, if more are coming, we'll figure it out. I mean, I'm already kind of ahead of the game on that when I'm rolling the ball already. I just haven't put it there yet. I mean, you already know basically if it's got wheels, I'll find a place for it. All right. Anybody else got any other questions here for us? Let's see. I think I'm caught up in the chat now, so um, let's see here. CRX is considered an R.
I mean, it is kind of small enough.
I've got ideas for that too, Josh. It's just I don't I'm not big on trying to copy people. I mean, even when I was a competitor and things like that, I mean, obviously you always kind of uh keep your eyes and your ears open and you get ideas and you see things from other people, but I've always been somebody that's like, you know, I don't know, a little bit more innovative, I guess. So, um, if I come out with this SPO class at the headrest, it won't be exactly what everybody thinks it is because I'll actually make you play music. And I've already got ideas for that too that I've just been holding in my backpack until somebody says, "Yeah, it's a good idea," instead of telling me, "No, that's not the music class we want." Well, then, really, did you want a music class? Because I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, most of those other things that you're talking about, that's not music. That's playing a burp for 30 seconds.
Just, with music around it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean or start no stuff. I'm just saying that to me, that's I mean, you get to pick a frequency, so it's similar. I mean, like I said, me and Tony's had this conversation. I think he knows where my mind's at with it, and I think it's a great idea. I just don't, like I said, I would rather create my own little lane rather than do something somebody else is already doing. And I mean, I know sometimes maybe that's not the smartest thing, but hey.
Well, no, I think it's a great idea. But like if like let's say it's a track where it's playing actual music or maybe frequencies are changing, it just as far as support, I guess you just have to make sure that those frequencies don't change too much because then people will start hurting gear, especially if they're burnt vehicles that try and do like a music train. That would be my only thought on that.
You missed everything, Jeffrey.
Mhm.
1 minute headrest music class, play whatever song you pick. 1 minute. We could call it dueling sound pressure, and you just play until it blows up, and I'll time it. And whoever's blows up and lasts the longest before it blows up wins. And we'll give you a SPL range. It has to be over 160 dB or 155 dB, and you just got to play it till it breaks, and whoever lasts the longest wins. Oh, see, I'm full of all kinds of good ideas, just none that nobody wants to do.
Oh, Mike Jones would be in for that. He doesn't care. He'll blow that. He doesn't care. See, I told you.
It's all about the fun of it, Don't tempt Mike with that. He'll do that.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
But yeah, the headrest music thing is something that we've talked about a lot. I just haven't really. I want it to be actually be music, so that's my problem, I guess. But I mean, we've tried to create a lot of things for over the years for folks that have those true demo builds, or quote unquote demo builds and things like that. And it kind of, I mean, it seems like no matter what we do, it kind of never really works out 100%, because it eventually turns into, like I said, kind of being able to almost play a burp for 30 seconds. I mean, even
Yeah.
in park and pound, even though you've got the 5 second and it's got to fluctuate stuff, that's, it could, fluctuation could be one frequency. It could be wah, wah, and it just stopped for a second. That's going to fluctuate the meter. So eventually you kind of end up back where you started with the sound pressure thing. And then, I don't know, I guess no matter what you do, no matter what, there's got to be winners and losers, and that's what the real problem comes down to. But
Oh yeah, absolutely.
oh, this RC class is going to be big, like Royal Crown Coca-Cola big, or do it.
I mean, yeah, I want to see that.
Why are you called the professor? Is that your nickname?
Yeah, yeah. The people so it was originally given to me years ago doing base race. I'm not fond of it. So because
Uh,
I'm not like an ego guy, right? So yeah, they call me that, but I just kind of I do that where I roll my eyes and I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's also because like testing and I'm very technical with stuff and stuff like that. So
they
that's
call me
where it comes
Escalade Professor.
from. Escalade.
Yeah, and one basketball, the professor and the Escalade.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or I could be hot sauce. Oh, let's see if I missed any other ones. But I think at the end of the day, I guess with all my explanation and all my talking there, I do think a headrest music class isn't a bad idea. And eventually we'll probably get there. I guess I haven't had that eureka moment yet where I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do, you know, or what I want to try to do. But it's definitely on the radar.
I think it would be cool, and I definitely think you could get support with it for sure.
Yeah, we're twinning. We're twinning it up. We got the same shirt on and everything. Tony said it's because you teach him how to do car audio.
Yeah, I do. I do teach them some stuff.
I call my teacher Yoda. I'm Obi-Wan. You can be Skywalker.
I
Oh,
dig
man.
that.
It's a joke. There's a few people like I call my teacher Yoda all the time, and so there's a few people over the years that I've helped out here and there, or whatever, and they'll call me Yoda, and I'm like, I'm not Yoda, I'm Obi-Wan.
I'm just a dude who loves car audio, likes to help people. That's about it.
What's he talking about? Oh, are you talking about the your music class? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
when you're dealing with me, man, that could be all of the above. It might be a couple years, because I've already been kicking it around in my head and talking to people about it for probably since before I bought MECA. So how about that?
Damn.
So
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I just really haven't had that. I really haven't had that idea yet where enough people was like, yeah, that's a great idea, that I'm like, all right, that's the one we're going to do. Tony said he just turns knobs until it's more gooder. Yeah, we know you turn all the knobs, Tony. Knobs to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Make it, and you make the professor do all of the teaching to the car. He doesn't teach you; he teaches the car. Look at you.
I mean, yeah, I pretty much at a show you just hand him the head unit box and say, "Okay, here you go. It's ready."
Oh, Steve Mick is the god of base race. I don't know if that's true or not, but it probably is.
He's definitely one of the best for sure.
I never paid a whole lot of attention to base race.
It was fun because it was something different, but it got played out. Especially when you start doing ties and all that stuff. I mean, when you're 20 ties deep, at that point you're like, oh my god, I just want this to end.
It really is an awesome format though. It really is one of the only formats that like you could literally take anything and be competitive.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's very
oh,
true.
I probably shouldn't say that anything, but I mean almost anything. I mean most vehicles can do 29.9, so especially if they have upgraded subwoofer or some audio in them. So uh, you know, I think it's a good format. I was just always the sound pressure guy. I picked my little lane and kind of stayed there. And I was interested in some of the other stuff. I looked at it and paid attention to it, but I just I perfected my one little area and just kept it that way.
Yeah.
Need a mecha track, you had to play 30 seconds of that track. Chad, you already know my idea. Shut up, boy. I seen Tony win base race at finals and hang a car he's never touched until the run.
Yeah, I've done some weird stuff over the years with that. I had a buddy who had an extreme van, and I said, yeah, I could 29.9 this thing. He's like, bull crap. I did. I base raced my home stereo. Yeah, stupid crap like that.
You've had all the fun.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, good buddy of mine who used to be a competitor. He was really good at base race. We tied so many times. We swapped vehicles. Um, and then to like finish it off, we base raced blindfolded. That's on YouTube. There's proof.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Well, I guess I'll ask you one more question, and then if
Mhm.
they don't ask us none, I'll ask you one more after that, and we'll start getting wrapping up here. But if you guys got questions, it's time. I can keep him on here for a little bit longer, probably, but we're coming up on an hour, and I try to kind of stick to an hour because it's easier for people to go back and rewatch it if they want to. But if you guys make it interesting, then we'll keep on talking because I think the two of us can talk about stereos until the sun comes up, even though we won't.
Probably.
Um, I guess now you've been in the Mecca now for I guess what 4 or 5 years, a little bit there.
Yeah.
So uh, I guess my question is, what drew you to try Mecca when you did, and what what makes you want to keep doing it and all that good stuff.
Okay, so I originally tried Mecca at Spring Break Nationals one year. And because of the whole fusing thing, it wasn't for me because at the
Right.
time, obviously, the classes were based on fusing.
I guess you don't
Um,
want to know the new idea then.
oh gosh, no, oh no, stick with the clamp. But that's when Mecca switched over to clamping. I was like, okay, now this is my stuff. I want to get into this. So yeah, that's really what drew me to it is when clamping became involved.
Okay.
In fact, I remember because I forget what year it was at SBN. I actually remember doing Park and Pound when it was, I guess it was, they were like testing it out and it was called Drive By at the time.
Yeah, it was
And
called drive by for a long time until
yeah.
we had a competitor basically pass out in the van in his van at finals, Eric Alexander,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and that's when they changed it to park and pound, because basically you used to drive up and you had to, like, when the meter said ready, you couldn't move until the meter said ready, and you actually had to practice that and be good at it, and you had to, like, drive up and stop right when right where you wanted to stop,
Yeah.
and you couldn't have doors open, it was just a window. And to me it was a lot more fun then, but it was also a lot more dangerous, because like I said, really what kind of stopped it was a guy passed out and the car, you know, kept rolling. So,
Ooh,
uh,
okay.
and that's why they turned it into park and pound. And then, of course, it evolved from there because, well, if we're not driving, why can't we open our doors? Or, why can't we do this and that? So it kind of just evolved from there. But it was originally drive by, and I don't really think that it would have changed a lot if that hadn't happened, to be honest. But
Hmm.
because I thought it was definitely a little bit more practice and skill involved in it, because you had to start the radio, you had to take off, you had to make sure you stopped in the right spot. It was a lot involved in trying to, hit the meter.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and that's educational for me because I that's one of the things I never understood was the whole, obviously can't be in the car, can't touch the car, but I mean obviously if somebody passed out, that 100% makes sense now.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously they've gotten a lot louder, but like I said, back then it was only a window, you know,
Yeah.
basically a window open, and they had to drive up and hit the meter at the right time and all that. So I think he was the first one that was over like a 35, close to a 36, maybe. Heck, it might even been a 37, but
Dang. Okay.
in an Astro van. And I mean, like I got demos in it, and I think it was a 65 to a 67 build at the headrest, and but it played frequencies like I'm sure you get in some of them and they're loud, but
Hmm.
then you get in other ones and they might not meter louder, but them things feel like you got in a fight when you got out. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah, definitely frequency based. Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so that's kind of how it was. Like it was one of them cars when you sat in it, you knew when you got out, like you sat in that. You know what I mean?
That's wild. Okay.
And it was a sixth order band pass. I think it had, was it 12 or 15 12s in it? But I mean, it was like some not even really high level high phonics stuff back then, and it was loud. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah.
But yeah, but basically, to answer your question you'd asked, yeah, that's what drew me to it was the clamping and farther from that was I guess it was after you guys took it over, seeing so obviously being a judge for another organization, competitor for years, you don't really see the head people in charge. Like if a complaint comes to them, they're on it, they take care of it, they make that person feel like they were heard. And I've seen that both with you and Shannon, and I think that's definitely one of the things that drew me even more towards the mecha side.
I don't know. I think that, yeah, we obviously try to do that. They don't always get the answers they want, but, we're not ones that usually will run away from it. So, I mean, I agree with that. I appreciate those words. And that's something that maybe it's because I was a judge for so long and I was the one that dealt with that stuff anyways. It doesn't really, I don't take it personal because I guess I've done everything there is to do now. Like as far as an organization from an organization standpoint, I
Yeah.
was a competitor. At one time, I wasn't even a competitor. I was just somebody that was showing up at shows, and then I was a competitor, and then I was a judge, and then I was an event director, and then I was on an R&E committee, and then I was the head of the R&E committee, and then now I'm sitting here in this chair, and it's like, so I know what it's like to be in every one of those places, and when I was just coming up through those places, I can understand the perspective I used to be. You know what I'm saying? Even though I have a different perspective now or a different way I feel about it or think about it, I've said some of the same stuff. I've got mad about some of the same stuff. So who am I
Hmm.
to really, you know, even though I might think that's not necessarily 100% how it is, because I understand all of the different sides now. It's
Yeah.
just I understand where the person's coming from, and we can't always fix everything, and you can't never make everybody happy, but we sure do try. So,
Well, and you're not going to make everybody happy, but at least if that person feels that you listened to them and heard their, what they had to say, that can make the greatest difference in the world. Like I'm leaving names and out of it. I've emailed somebody from the head, of an organization, and they didn't even get back to me for 4 months because they didn't want to.
I mean, I
So
think sometimes stuff does fall through the cracks too. So, I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, I get messages sometimes and people are like, hey, we emailed or we did this or that. And like, I know, like, especially Shannon's emails, because she sends and gets so many, like her email will lock her out all the time. Because it's too much, you know what I'm saying? Or it'll
sure.
say she's over her limits or whatever. And so I don't doubt it when people say that stuff. And like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but I'm just telling it how it is. I know, as somebody in the seat that I'm in, that sometimes things do go through the cracks, but it's not always intentional. And if it's something to do with us, there's all kinds of different forms of ways of getting in touch with me. And I promise you, I'm not going to ignore you on all of them. So, and it's not because I'm trying to ignore you to begin with. Sometimes it might take me a day or two to think about something before I say it, because I'm a human too. But
Oh yeah.
usually, that's, I don't know, something that I've always tried to do is just, try to figure out what's right, or what, maybe even not what's right. And sometimes it bites me in the butt, but I try to be fair in the moment, and sometimes you look back on it and think, well, I could have did it this way and maybe it would have shook different. But, to me, it's more about being fair than it is being right. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure.
Uh,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
All right.
nice door panels. MECA makes me happy. Uh, yeah. So Shannon just put her phone number down there. It is easiest to get in touch with us that way. If you're doing email or Facebook, we get so much of that stuff. Like I said, sometimes it does fall through the cracks. And yeah, we do answer a lot of people on those things. So I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, oh, I don't answer you there, or I don't do business there, or anything like that, because sometimes I do, but it's easy to lose track of some of that stuff. So, make sure if you do feel like you got ignored, that you reach out on the phone, or you submit a ticket to the website, something like that. And, we'll try to make sure we get back to you. Like I said, sometimes we do get thrown for a loop. It might take me a week sometimes to actually, figure out what the answer might be. But, most of the time it doesn't take me that long, but every once in a while. Michael Haslage asked, what were your favorite brands?
Oh, current or overall? That's the question.
Uh, what about both? So, like, what's your favorite brands overall, and they don't have to exist?
Well, I mean, overall, because I've used some great equipment over the years. I mean, gosh, when I started, I had Trio CSXs and Shucker Sigs. You know what I mean? It was the, back then, yeah, that was
Still
the
the
greatest thing.
best. Oh, sorry.
No, because that was like, it was some of the loudest stuff you could use at that point.
Man, I had the Shockers and I had buddies with the Trio stuff, but like, I think I I mean, back then I didn't really have the means to be testing a whole lot of stuff, but I would try my
Mhm.
friends' stuff and things like that. And I'd put that speaker up against a lot of speakers still.
The Sig, oh God, yeah, absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely.
shoot, I think the person I sold them to just put them up maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they was winning with them until they put them up.
That now that's cool. That's cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So As far as the ferrites are concerned, I think some of those old stuff was. I mean, some of it wasn't, but there was a few of them that the REMTs.
Oh yeah, I had those. I had those. Yep. The
I,
original BTL, the original triple stack
yeah,
BTL, first time was a good sub. Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of them, and I know there's a lot of new ones too. But unfortunately, I don't have the experience with the newer ones. I mean, I have some experience with some of the Neos and things of that nature. But by the time I was head R&E and head sound pressure judge, I kind of Selena competed, but I didn't really dabble in it a whole lot. And then by then we were on to like some Neos, and I have
Yeah.
tested a whole lot of those. And generally speaking, once
Same.
you once you get to a certain level of speaker, there you might find 2 or 3 tenths here or there or whatever. You might find one that's a half or 7 tenths, but generally you're talking 2 or 3 tenths. And if you find one that's a half or 7 tenths, you can probably change that with a little R&D. So you're
Yep.
once the motor gets so strong, it's like how much of it really, I don't know how much of it's really wasted. I'm not an engineer or anything like that, but like how much of it can I really effectively use?
Well,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I you know I have. I've literally tested I think every Neo that's out there. And yeah, I have
you
my
see the
little
same
list.
kind of similar results.
Through most of them, there was one brand that
are
really
you are
failed.
are you R&D in the parts though too?
On a couple of them, I did not because they were borrowed, but I did R&D parts for the R3 Warden before the R4s dropped. Gosh, I must have cut apart my R3s probably 5 different times and was trying
Okay.
different stuff. And with compacts, I've done that. Obviously, different parts, things of that nature. So we put parts in Mike Jones. We put coils in his that shouldn't have been in them. We put 4-layer stainless coils in an R3 Warden, which is supposed to have an 8-layer. Worked.
Okay.
Thermally, it didn't do too great, but it worked.
I guess he's asking you about head units, mids and highs, and amps, etc.
Oh, well, I've always been an Alpine person. I've been an Alpine guy since '98. Mids and highs that varies. It depends what I'm using it for. I love my PRV stuff that I use for doing demos. Now sound quality wise, it would either be the Italia Hi-Fi stuff's amazing. Audio Dynamics. Have worked with Focal stuff. It's really good. Amplifiers again. Sundown. The Audio Dynamic stuff has been great. That's what I've been using. Sound Digital. And then now Zapco. Tony's kind of helping me along, and I think I'm gonna venture into the Zapco area for the daily driver.
I need that
So
big one that you got sitting on the floor.
which one?
The 10. Don't he got a 10K Zapco?
Oh, that's a 6K, and it was
Oh,
repaired, and I want to put it on the test bench, but I'm afraid to fire it up because apparently it blew up twice already.
oh. I used to have a 10K way back in the day. I always wanted it. But
Oh yeah, yep, that one and blew up too. I think that's still at the amp repair guy, I think.
cookie cutters are my pocket friendly sub. I hear that. That's what he was after. You're welcome, Mike. Well, does anybody else have any last questions before I ask him one more? All right. Well, I'll ask him who's the next victim.
Well, I told him I was going to do this to him. I know you're trying to stick to like champions from this past year, but I mean, I want to nominate Mike Jones.
Okay. Did he win a specialty award? I mean, either way, there's so many guys out there, and if I keep on doing this, you'll probably get your turn eventually. But
Fair.
titanium coils, who said that? Joe? Shut your mouth. No, they got. I mean, they got just as good stuff out now. Like the Mylar and the carbon fiber and all that good stuff. I mean, basically the same difference, but you
Oh
know,
yeah.
back in the day, we were putting titanium formers because it's less eddy currents.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, I blamed that on Joe. I I used to have a box of those, but I think I sold them. But yeah, they were pretty good. Yeah, the captain's pretty good.
Mhm.
I mean, any of that stuff. Basically, I look at it like it's anything that reduces drag,
Oh yeah. The
unobtainium.
the Kevlar formers, the ones that I started testing on my R3s, talking to Nick Wright and everything, and it was crazy because efficiency wise for low power, oh yeah, it made the R3s just as strong as a compact or whatever. And in fact, I think it might have been a little higher than that. Just the downside is guys who may abuse their stuff, like Mike, for instance,
He,
those Kevlar formers aren't very good.
yeah, they'll drop the coil sometimes. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we had the same problem with the titanium ones.
Ah, yeah, okay, I can see how that could happen.
It's just it's the glue, I guess, that they use, and it'll drop when they heat up, like literally drop the coil. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yes. Yeah, Mike literally exploded one of those Kevlar formers. Like I pulled the parts out of the sub, and it was exploded.
right.
So I've seen some
He
stuff.
said, "Watch Mike Jones. There's two versions of him."
That's true.
Oh man. All right. Well, I guess with all that being said, I appreciate you coming on here tonight with me, Tony. I think it
Yeah.
went pretty good. Um, yeah, Tony said last year champion or specialty award winner, but I wrote Mike Jones down. I'm gonna get him on here. I think he'd be fun to get on here. He probably don't. He probably don't want to. That's probably why you nominated him. But I'll get him on here. I think he'd be fun.
Well, if I really wanted to throw somebody of the bus, I was going to nominate Julio Matos, but yeah, he'd kill me. So I'm not going to do that to him.
Yeah, he's one I've been wanting to get him on here, but I know he's a little bit, he's not always the most talkative guy.
Yep.
But I think as far as the dueling demos and stuff like that, that was one of the first vehicles that really that was in the States anyways, that really kind of caught my attention. I mean, now there's several of them and stuff now that I've expanded my horizons, but his was one of the first ones. And I mean, Dean's obviously,
Yep.
the guys that came to the MECA finals before we kind of got it to what it is. Those cars are really good and I guess made those were the kind of guys that kind of made me want to try to make it better. And I feel like we've made it better each year. I know it's a complicated thing and there's a lot of things and it's hard to do right. But I mean, look at I think that goes for any subjective judging. It's hard to get it. It's just no matter what you do, it's hard to get it 100%. The way you envision it,
Sure.
if that makes sense. The stream is always PG or PG-13. Basically, I try to no smoking, no drinking, and no cussing, hopefully. But just because I don't want to get put off or be breaking anybody's standards or anything. So, we try to keep that stuff to a minimum here, Josh. Grimace is incoming. All right, so I'll see who we're getting on here next week. I think I might already be one behind because I tried to get you last week and we had to wait a week. So
Yeah.
I'll try to figure out who's next. But I wrote down Mike and Julio, and I mean if we reach out to you and you really don't want to do it or it's just not your thing, you can always say no. But I'll probably get on here and make fun of you a little bit, and then we'll move on. But
I know Mike will be down. I know that much. Just yeah, he's gonna have to make sure he remembers the no cussing thing.
right. Well, I mean that's difficult. I had to learn too. I had to learn too. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to turn you off for a second. If you want to hang out for a minute, I'll be back. But I'm going to go ahead and I guess cut us out of here. Thanks
Cool.
for coming on with us, Tony. Appreciate you again. Dueling Demo Street Class World Champion. And if you want to sign yourself out or say anything, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, just it was a pleasure being on. I hope I didn't bore anybody too much. So appreciate y'all.
All right. Thanks, Tony. All right, guys. Well, that was Tony Economou, Dueling Demo Street World Champion. We got the 4X coming this weekend. Come get yourself a crown. That's the best of show. Blinged out. What you know about that wolf fur? Oh, that show was loud, loud, loud. They got the crown with the fur, all that stuff, So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody this weekend in Indiana. We also have the show on Easter Sunday there in South Carolina. So 2 events this weekend. If you guys are traveling, be safe and high scores. And again, thanks to Tony for coming on with me tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching and hanging out with us. Make sure you like it up and share it up. Like and follow the pages. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. Don't forget you can set world records at the show at the 4X events this year. And I should be announcing your sound pressure finals here shortly. Until next time, keep it loud and clear, Mecha heads.